Welcome to your 2026 Freedom Aire Floor Plan 2515 walkthrough. So to open your hood, the hood latch is inside the cabin on the lower left side. Just reach here and pull down. There's a lever here underneath. They just lift up here on your left, and then the hood comes up, and then you want to latch the hood lever here into the lock position so the hood stays open. So we'll start here on the right side. This is your brake fluid cylinder, and this is the cap you would remove to check or fill. This is a 12-volt DC stud that you can jump the battery system off of here just by pushing it back, rotating it slightly if you needed to jump the engine. This is your oil fill after you check your oil. This is your air intake that comes through the top of the hood for your air conditioning. This is only to be checked if the engine is cool. This is your coolant fill and reservoir. And just at the front here is your DEF. So you'll need to add your DEF there. When you're finished under the hood, just lift up slightly and lock the lever back in place and then close. So here at the front of your coach, you'll notice a black type of a box. That's your radar here at the front. You want to keep that from being covered with ice or snow so that the radar will work. And at the windshield, lower part of the front windshield, that's your camera. You can learn more about those in your manual here on page 143. These are safety systems. They help you drive. So we're going to take a look at your headlights and marker lights here. These are your running lights, fog lights. Of course, your headlights here bright and dim. You just want to make sure that those lights are all working along with the turn signal, front and back, before you take your trip on both sides and on the rear. So here at the passenger side door, you've got your mirror. This is a side marker and turn signal. These mirrors are heated and adjustable from the driver's side. On the inside of the door, you've got your handle for open and close and your seat adjustment here. You've got controls here for the heat for the seat and your door lock and unlock here. And then this is your window up and down. On the side of your seat, we have your controls for adjusting the back of the seat for the lumbar and the adjustment on the back of the seat for upper and lower lumbar and more or less. So moving back to the entrance door, we have our deadbolt lock and our door lock. So let's take a look at that from the inside. So when you open the door, the step comes out. The screen has a small handle to unlock it from the main door. That locks it back in place. So you can close the screen door separately here. And you can slide the plastic over. Then you'll have your screen door closed. The locks for both the door handle here, so now my door handle is locked, is the lower one, and then the upper one is the deadbolt. So we can lock either one manually from the inside. So if you do rotate the deadbolt, you want to make sure and put it back so that when you close the door, it doesn't shear off. But you can lock the lower door lock here and then close the door, and the door will be locked. So that's up to you, but it's unlocked right now. We'll show you how to do that with the key from the outside. So for unlocking the door from the outside, you can use the key fob for the entry unlock or lock here, that locks and unlocks, or the cargo lock and unlock. But you can also use your keys. Your longer key is the deadbolt, and the shorter one is the door handle. So if I want to lock the deadbolt, I turn to the left or counterclockwise. Now the door deadbolt is locked. So if you try to open it and just the deadbolt is locked, and then you go back to unlock it, it won't turn. You have to slightly push in. You can hear the handle latch again, and then you'll be able to easily unlock the deadbolt. So just remember that. If you lock the deadbolt and not the door, and somebody tries to open it, it opens just slightly because the handle released, but the deadbolt is still inside, locked. And if you try to unlock it now, it's very hard to turn. You have to push in slightly and then unlock the deadbolt. So now you can open the door easily. So now to lock the handle, you use the shorter key. So here's my shorter key. So then lock all the way to the left, unlock to the right. So it should be unlocked now. Let's go ahead and lock it one more time. All the way to the left, or locked, and then unlock to the right. And then that opens our door. There is another way, which would be the second way to open your door from the outside. It's with this numerical unlock code. When you take delivery of your coach, the code is always the same. Newmar uses 123441. So if we close the door again, and let's say you left and you lock the door with number 1. Lock it. Hold it down for a second. The door locks. Now to unlock it, we have to use the Newmar code that comes with the coach. 123441. And that unlocks the door. So when you take delivery of your coach, set up your own numerical master unlock code, one that you'll remember the number for, and we'll go into more detail on how to set that code up a little bit later. Just above the door is your security light. The security light can be turned on and off from the overhead inside. Our first baggage compartment door, going back on the passenger side, is for storage, but it also has a 120 volt GFCI protected outlet. You can see there's a small green LED light on the outlet itself. When the green LED light is lit up, this has power. If this green LED light turns red, this outlet will not operate unless you reset it. You can reset it right here in the center by pushing the lower one and then the upper one back on. So when it's tripped, there's no LED light, or if there's a fault, it turns red. So you have to make sure that you reset it and that it's green, and then that will work. To open the door behind this front door, it's a suicide door latch. You have to push down, unlock, and then you can open it, and you've got the full area. For storage to close, be sure and close the left-hand side first and then the right. You can unlock and lock this or any of the baggage doors all with the same key. This is the entertainment center where you're going to find your television and speaker for your radio. This is the key for your entertainment center. Just turn it. This way is locked, so straight up and down is unlocked. You can open it. And this can be pulled out and turned to the position that you like. Outside here, it's on magnets, so you can just grab a hold of it, and then you can turn it and set it up, point it in the direction that you like. This is a Bose speaker that has Bluetooth, so you can Bluetooth this speaker with your iPad or your phone. When you're finished, just rotate and push it back in place. Just to the left of the television is another 120 volt outlet with USB and USB-C charging ports here. When you're finished, just reach up and push down to latch and then lock that back up. Our next compartment back is our battery and inverter charger. These, of course, are your house batteries. The house batteries are lithium. The lithionics system is used to store energy for your house appliances, let's say your refrigerator. The batteries will be charged by the inverter charger, but the inverter side of it will also take the energy out of your batteries and power up like your refrigerator and other appliances inside, like your microwave. So you want to make sure that your inverter charger is turned on. This black rocker switch can be put in the charger only position, which is down, but we want to make sure that it's in the up position, which says on here. As long as this is in the top position or turned on, then you'll be able to control this inverter charger on the overhead panel from the inside. So this has to be turned on here for you to control it from the inside. If you look over on the back wall, there's a BMS here. This controls the energy going in and out of your batteries. On the back side, there's a small button. It's the same one that you see in the overhead. We'll show you in a little bit. It's blue LED, and that blue LED can be turned on and off here. So if I would press that, it would shut the batteries off, so I would have no power inside. If the battery level goes down to just 10% of charge left, that BMS cuts the energy off from the inside or from the outside to the inside, so there's no more power that will go into your house when the batteries are drained to 10%, unless you press that little blue LED light again to turn it back on so that the blue light is illuminated. You can do that in the overhead, or you can come around here and press the on button here to recycle and turn these batteries back on to give you energy. Just remember, you're on your last 10% of battery charge, and you want to plug the coach in to get the batteries charged back up. There is a plug here. This is plugged into the BMS, and you want to leave that plugged in because this will give you power to this control, or this BMS, if the batteries are too low and they need to wake up so that you can charge them back up when you either start your engine, plug your coach in. This should be plugged in it sends 12-volt power to the BMS to make sure it's awake so that it can turn on, connect, and allow the inverter and charger to charge these batteries back up. This plug also should remain plugged in because it is the sensing circuit for your coach 120 volt, and you'll be able to see on your display, your 10-inch or your 5-inch display panels, your touch panels, that your coach is receiving power if this is plugged in. If this is not plugged in, then you won't be able to tell whether you actually have shore power or not if this is not plugged in. You will hear, as you do now, a small fan that's inside of the inverter charger. The fan will come on and off as needed to keep the inverter charger cool, to keep it cooled down. The interior light that you see here is an LED light strip. When the door goes closed, this small magnet touches this, and the magnetic side or plate of the switch turns the light out. Our next compartment back is more storage. There is a Velcro ABS cover over this control circuit panel. These are your relay and FET boards, and these control, as it's labeled, things like your furnace. So you'll notice here there's a green LED light that's lit up on these panels and boards. That means that they're functioning, that they're working. You'll see a small green flashing light. That small green light tells you that there's communication between these modules and the whole network. That's why you see the green flashing light. Up at the top here, you'll see your house battery disconnect. You'll see fuses. These are breakers that will open it if too much amperage is going through them, but then they'll reconnect later. These fuses, if you have a fuse that blows, you'll need to change the fuse. If they're the smaller kind, like you see here, you need to change these if they blow. If they're the longer style here, the center will pop out and you just need to press it back in to reset that fuse. The compartment above here is for more storage. And as we come around to the back of the coach, you've got your brake lights and turn signal, marker lights, third brake light, all of the running lights at the top. You've got your hitch and your Bargman plug here. Here at the back corner, you've got your 30 amp outlet. It's plugged in and you can see the light is on, meaning that you've got power and it's working, it's plugged in. To disconnect the cord, the instructions are right here on the side. Just turn and pull it out to unlock. So we're at the back of the coach on the driver's side. The rear door compartment is your fresh water tank fill, low point drains, and your tank rinses. You can see here, every one is labeled. When you get your coach new, you're going to get a filter like this, and that filter goes inside of this tray. You can remove this with this small lock here, unlock it, and then use your wrench to go up and then turn to just counterclockwise to loosen it, and then install the filter, and then put it back up and then tighten it, and then put your lock pin back in. That's your whole house filter, and that should be changed once a year. If you've only used it a few months and you want to save it, you can. Just be sure don't run the winterizing antifreeze through it. Otherwise it's ruined. You'll have to get a new one. So if you're going to winterize, and the winterizing instructions are right up here on how to do it, you want to remove this first. So since we're talking about winterizing, the instructions again are right here. It goes step by step on how to winterize it. Obviously, first starting with draining your low point drains. This is a shower handle rinse. So if you need to rinse your utensils, hoses, hands, whatever, you can do that right here, hot and cold. And then just on and off. The water fill line for your gray tank rinse or your black tank rinse can be put directly in this position here. If you drain the black tank, the handle to pull and drain is here for black tank and here for gray. Typically, we like to drain after we connect our sewer hose here. We want to drain the black tank completely and then follow that up with draining the gray tank to rinse all the black fluid water out. And then after we've drained each of those tanks, we can connect a fresh water supply to the black tank and rinse the black tank, and then follow it up with rinsing the gray tank. Just take the hose from here, put it to here, and finish up with your gray tank rinse there. The freshwater tank fill has a handle here, so you want to have it at the top, or the handle pointing to a manual fill. If you want the tank to fill manually, you want to make sure and rotate that up and then connect your hose. Here's your freshwater connection for the hose, and you would put the hose coming up through here. If you'd like to do that, then you can go ahead and turn it to manual fill, or if you have it on autofill here, you'll have to turn the panel on autofill. Autofill must be enabled at the monitor panel inside the coach. So you can do it either way. You can fill your fresh tank, just leave the hose connected and it will automatically fill as needed. Or if you're ready to travel, you can fill it manually and just fill it all the way up. If you fill it completely to the top, it will go into the overflow hose. You'll probably see it coming out the bottom a little bit. That tells you your tank is completely full. And then you'd want to turn off your fresh water supply. When you're done and you've removed your hose, you can put your cap back on, your fresh water and city connection. When you're using water in the coach and you don't want to use it out of the fresh tank, you want to leave this handle to the rotated to the autofill side. That way the water that's coming in here and going through your filter is just going to your inside of your coach, not filling the fresh water tank. As long as this handle is here in the autofill, it will autofill. You'll have city water. And you won't need to use the water pump. You really only need to turn your water pump on if you're using the fresh water out of the fresh tank and the handle is pointed in this direction. If you have the handle pointed up and you turn your water pump on, it won't give you water pressure. So you can fill your tank this way, but when you're done filling it, turn it back down here. If you want to use your water pump, then you can, and it will take water out of the fresh tank after it's full or partially full. You just can't leave this up in the manual fill position and turn your water pump on. It won't give you pressure until you rotate it down in the autofill position. When you're done with the fresh water or rinse of your tanks, you can remove the hose, take it out. So when it comes time to winterize your coach, the instructions are here, and you would definitely want to open your low point drains hot and cold. And to get all of the water out of your fresh tank, you want to turn your water pump on. Once the low point drains stop draining, then turn the water pump off, and then you can close both the cold and the hot low point drains. There is another connection here for cable. This is the cable connection for inside watching on cable on your TVs. You'll need to plug the park cable here. This black box is the transfer switch so that it automatically transfers from shore power to generator power. You'll notice the gray cord goes to your generator. The black cord in the back, that goes to the shore power. And this is the box that automatically switches to whichever power source is being used. And the gray is the generator, and that has priority. So if you're running your generator, you're going to be using power off of your generator line. The generator comes in here, and that will power the house. When the generator is turned off, this box automatically transfers and allows the power to come through your shore cord. So our next two doors here are just storage. They're identical to the ones on the other side. So their suicide doors just lift up to unlock, and then be sure and close the one suicide door first and then the other door last. In our next door, forward at the very front on the driver's side, is your hydronic heating system. The hydronic heating system not only heats your hot water, but it heats the air in your coach for heating through the winter. Each area of the coach has a heating zone. This is zone 1 and zone 2. There is an adjustment that you can make if the water, let's say, is not quite hot enough or too hot. There's a valve here. This is called a mixing valve, and you can adjust the temperature of the hot water right here. So if you do make an adjustment, hotter or colder, you'll notice it both in the shower and at the sink. This is a diesel fuel burner. So it uses diesel fuel to operate the burner. If you're at a level of fuel that's at a quarter tank or lower, the system won't burn on the burner side because it doesn't want to take all of the fuel out of your fuel tank. So just remember that if you're camping and you're using this and you're using it for heat and or hot water, you want to keep your fuel gauge above a quarter tank. There's another 120 volt outlet here. This system is turned on and off on the inside of the coach. This system runs on either the diesel burner or it has a 120 volt heating element for the hot water. So as long as you engage your heating element in the touch panel overhead or the small one for your hydronic heating system, if you turn on the electric and you're plugged in to shore power, or running your generator, you'll be able to have hot water. If you're not able to plug in, you can run it off of the inverter, but it will take charge off of your batteries that way. Okay, so just in front of the hydronic heating system, you'll notice a chrome outlet. This is the actual exhaust port for when the burner's running. So this is going to be hot, so you don't want to have anything near this or touching it when you're going to be running your hydronic system. So just remember that's the exhaust, and that will be warm in this area. Here at the entrance is your diesel fill. To fill it up, you're going to have to make sure you open your door, and then you can remove the cap and fill up with diesel. When you open the door and close it, there's a timer that turns off the lights and the other functions of the ECU so that the lights go out. So if you're going to exit the coach, we suggest that you exit the coach out of this door, and then when you close it, the timer will start and turn off those ECU functions so the lights and other functions go out so they don't drain your battery. So it's okay if you're going to go in and out of the entrance door on the side of the coach, but if you had your lights and other things running, we suggest that at least you open the door and close it so that timer turns on and shuts everything off. So what we were just talking about is if you exit the coach out of this door instead of the driver front door and you had your lights on, the timer won't start to turn off those lights, the headlights. But you can also cycle the unlock or lock, and that will start the timer so the lights will go out. So you can use your key fob to lock and unlock the door here. And that will do the same thing as when you exit the coach here. It will also reset the timer and your lights will go out if you had those on. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat and we'll just go over the controls here on the door. You've got your mirror controls for left and right mirror adjust here. So you choose the mirror you want to adjust, then you can adjust it up, down, left, or right. You've got the window up and down for the driver and passenger side here. And then the seat controls are actually here as well instead of on the seat, although the lumbar is on the seat. And you have the heat for the seat and you have lock and unlock for the door. And these are your seat adjustments: forward, back, and then tilt your seat back. And if you want to set 1, 2, or 3 settings for different drivers, you can do that with the memory button, and then you would select one of those numbers to put that in memory. So when you come back in the coach, and you can select the one that was preset for your size. Just below the driver's seat is a panel, which is a fuse panel with 2 tabs that you can push down to open. You'll notice fuses are here, but there's no legend on the back. So you'll have to go to your owner's manual here. There are 2 pages starting here. F55, page 11, and it describes and gives the location of all the fuses here in this panel. So if you have a function of something that's not working and you want to check that fuse, you have to come here, look up the item that's not working. Let's say the fan for the air conditioner. It's a 40 amp, it's number 7. And then you would go to that fuse and pull it, check the fuse, and see if it's any good. If it's not, you need to replace it and then put the fuse back in and then check the operation of that device. When you're finished, just put the cover back on. Clip it and push. Moving over here, on the left-hand lower side here are your lights, on and off, or auto. Auto is in the middle, marker lights, and headlights. This is your fog light, on and off, and then your light dim or bright here. So here at the side of the column, you'll see a steering wheel icon with heat. So that's off for the steering wheel heat, on and off. And of course, you've got your turn signal left and right. So we're going to go ahead and start the coach so you can see the home screen. At your home screen, you can get to the home screen by pressing on the left-hand side of the column, the home screen button. And then to scroll through or navigate, you see where the OK is, there's arrows. You don't actually press down, you just scroll left or scroll right. So once you press the home screen, you just slightly move across the OK to go to your trip, go to your radio, your media, and your telephone right here. So if I was using my thumb, I would just scroll like this. Assistance and or service. I can scroll down. Once I make a selection, I can scroll down with the up and down arrows. So you can use your thumb to go up and down or left and right. And then to go back, just press the home screen if you want to make a different selection. Like say our trip. Once we select trip, just press it. Now we'll be able to scroll up and down in that selection. Back to the home screen. And then below that and those selections, you've got your cruise control on and off. So to turn it on, you just press here and the icon would come on and then go off if we were driving. And then to set, you can just move your finger up and down, and cancel is to the left. Over on the right side, you'll have a home screen for the secondary screen. So you press the home screen there, it takes you to this home screen. You can do the same thing here. It takes you to the same one. And then to scroll, you can do the same thing here, left or right. Or you can come over to the screen and you can touch it to move left or right. So you can either move it left or right to make a selection here, or you can do it while you're driving with your thumb over here. Like say I could select radio, press OK, and that's the channel that I would have selected. And then just scroll up and down to get the volume to go up, or down to turn the volume down low or off. Back to the home screen. You're at the main screen for that one. So this cluster is for that screen, and this cluster is for the screen as you're driving. On the column, you have two lever controls. The one on the right is for drive, reverse, and park. So if we want to move forward, we push down, and you can see it goes into drive. Now we can move forward. If we want to go in reverse, we go up, and it goes into R. Now we can go in reverse. And when we're at where we want to park, then we would press in on this button, and then that puts it in park. While we're driving, we want to make a lane change. We would use our left signal or our right. The wiper wash is here, so if we press in, the wash will come out, the wipers will come on, and we can turn those on to settings here for high and low or intermittent. And of course the center is the horn. So just below our secondary monitor display, we have an on-off button, so we can press to turn it on. Below that, we have our channel scroll, our button for the home page, and of course we can scroll through when we get to the home page. This is for our traction control. You'll notice the sign when it comes up that the engine has to be turned on. So we can adjust the traction control just by pressing this button. We can turn our traction control on or off here. If we want to connect our telephone, we can do that through the Bluetooth. You'd have to connect your Bluetooth. And of course, we can go back to our radio here and adjust our volume here. The gear icon takes you to keyboard controls, keyboard languages, audio, and we can go into different settings for loudness and balance, all in that radio section. We go back to the home screen here. We have apps, info, different settings. Phone here again, obviously we'd have to connect to it with Bluetooth. This is the number that you would look to connect on your phone or your smart device to connect your Bluetooth to the radio. Then you can play music through it or make your telephone calls. To turn it off, and just press here and it will be off. So the cluster here is for your HVAC here in the cockpit. To turn this on, you'll have to have the engine running. So you press start. Now you see you have your temperature setting here for temperature up and down. You can allow the outside air to come in, or if you want to just have the inside air only recirculate, you can press this one. Typically, this one is left on to recirculate when you're running the air conditioner. So then you would turn your air conditioner down to the temperature you like for cooling. If you leave it in the auto, it automatically selects the fan speed. So if I turn this down lower and I press auto, you'll notice the fan speed will go up to a much higher setting. I can control that manually or off. But if I'm in the auto, it's going to adjust the fan speed for me. If I make the temperature close to what it is inside the cockpit, the fan should slow down automatically. If I don't want the air conditioner on, I just press the AC button again. And in the center is our emergency flashers, emergency hazard. Once I turn the engine off, this display panel will go out. Except for the emergency hazard, I can turn those on anytime. Below that, we have a USB-C charging port here, a 12-volt charging port here, and a 115, 120-volt recept here. We can plug things in here. Way at the bottom here is if the key fob isn't getting its signal, you can put this in here, and now you should be able to get a signal to start your engine. As long as the battery's good, we should be able just to use the key fob here in the dash to start the engine, just press again. It works fine. But in the event that it wasn't working or the battery was getting too low here, you would insert it down there. So at the top center, we have some additional controls, which is on the starting left is the Mercedes Me. This is what connects you to the Mercedes Me dial-up. You're actually calling Mercedes. The second one over is your interior light, same on the right side. And if you like this whole bar to be illuminated, just press here. Then just press again to turn those lights off. So if you would like the lights to stay off when you open and close the doors, this is the button you would press. Now I can open the door to either the driver or passenger side. No lights will come on, but if it's extended out and I open the door, then my interior lights come on. Then of course you have the SOS button here. So to cover the interior windows in the cockpit area, there's a bag here with magnetic covers. So if you remove the cover out of the bag, there's the large one for the front and the smaller ones for the side. So we'll just demonstrate the side one so you see how that works. So you would open it up like this. Usually the silver goes on the outside, so you'd want to put it on this side over here. The silver part goes out. And you can hear the magnets when they attach. And there's your privacy shade or sunblock. When you want to remove them, you just grab a hold and pull it. And you can fold it back up and store it back in the bag. So at the front of the coach, this folds down into a bed. And to do that, we just grab a hold here and pull down. And we fold the mattress down. And there's a ladder here. So we just disconnect this, open that up, and then these are the two latches that go here. And then we can go up in this area. And we're done. I just latch this back together. When you first come into the coach, you have your switch here for all lights on and off. And those will only work if your BMS, which is your battery control, is turned on. The blue light must be illuminated. If it's not, you'll need to press this and release. Once the blue light comes on, you'll be able to turn the lights on and off here, whether you're coming in the coach or you're exiting. This is your battery disconnect. Along with the BMS, the battery disconnect has to be turned on. If this red light is not displaying, press here. That connects the house controls to the battery so that your functions in the inside of the coach will operate. Again, once those are on, then you can turn your lights on and off here as you're coming in or exiting the coach. So above the entrance door, you've got your control area. Just lift the door open And we'll start from the left and work right and explain what these controls are. There is a cover over this one that you can remove. It won't light up or display until it's touched. But on the left side here is your leveling system. Before you put your coach in the leveling mode, either manual or auto, you want to make sure that your slide rooms are already out. And in order to do that, you want to be on air ride suspension. So you want to be completely aired up, then run your rooms out, and then you would be able to come here to the equalizer system's touchpad to do your leveling. So you'll have to have the ignition key on to accessories. Once that's on, you'll be able to hit the power button, and you'll be able to see that your ignition is on. Before you auto level, you'll want to make sure that underneath the coach, there's nothing that's off level to the point where there would be a large object. And then you would be able to come in here and then just press the auto level button. You'll be able to hear the jacks going down. You can see the LED here is operating. Independent of the auto level are the manual buttons that you can adjust manually here. Just a note while it's leveling is you can actually get online and you can get the app to see what your coach is doing with leveling, and you'll be able to connect to your touchpad with the Bluetooth. You can see the coach is moving as the coach is getting more level. If for some reason you were in an area that was too far off level, that the jacks would not be able to level, you'll see this LED light for excessive slope, and then you would have to move to a different area for leveling to take place. All right, you can see now the LED went out for operating. All of your jacks are down. So now you can turn off your ignition. Your leveling is complete. Then you can power it down. And then your procedure to bring the jacks back up is the same. You would power it up with the ignition on, and then you would just simply hit all retract. So you can see here all the jacks are retracted. If we had started our ignition, we would be on air ride suspension right now, and then we could run all of the slide outs back to the in position. When you're finished, then all you have to do is hit the power button, and that turns the system off. So the next panel over has a cover. This is your inverter charger control panel, and when you touch it, it wakes up. On the main screen, you can scroll back and forth to two separate pages. Basically, it tells you what your grid power is coming in. It shows that your inverter is turned on with the green switch up at the top left LED there. That's where it needs to be. Gives you your AC loads. On the second page, it tells you that your battery state is 100% charged. It's an absorption charge, and it tells you what your AC loads are. So if we go back and we just touch the screen again, we can click on the menu. For instance, if you were plugged into a smaller cord, let's say just 15 amp, you need to come in here and go to the inverter setting, which is basically this first page that comes up in the menu. Click on inverter, go into the input current limit, select that, and then after we select that, again, we have to touch it twice. We can change this from a 30 amp which it's normally set on, to, let's say, if you're just plugged into a cheater cord and it's only got, let's say, 20 amp. So we can dial that down to 20 amp. We need to do that anytime we're using a cheater cord. Otherwise, we'll trip breakers. So we'll go back up. Since we're plugged into a 30 amp cord, we'll go right back to 30 and leave it there. So we're at 30, we're good. Can scroll back, click on pages, and we're back at the home screen. Our next control over is the wind guard antenna for the television. Whenever we want to watch over-the-air TV, we turn this on. Up in the upper left corner, a green LED light will come on. If we press it again, everything goes out and our over-the-air channels won't be received through the TV as well at all. Turning it on, it automatically goes through a scan, and if we see in the center here, 7 channels is how many it picked up. If you want to rescan for more channels, you can just press the scan button. It goes through another scan to get more. Once it selects a channel or the number of channels that you're on, you can make slight adjustments left or right to the antenna here. If we want to watch cable, or we're on our park cable connection that's in the back of the coach that we showed you earlier, we need to turn this off. If we leave this on, the cable won't come through. So to watch cable, this has to be completely off, no LEDs on. To watch over-the-air TV, we turn it on, we have the lights that show and the number of channels. This set of rocker switches are for the entrance door lock and unlock, baggage door lock and unlock, patio lights, and our slide out. The slide out is behind me. Before I operate the slide out, there's a little warning sign. Be sure that the driver's seat is in the forward position before activating the slide out room. So before you press this to extend or retract, you want to make sure that the back of the seat is not near where the slide is going to be moving. The next switch over is our step switch. The step that goes out when we open the door, it can stay out if we press this button here to keep it extended. That way, whether the door closes or reopens, it's always out. If you want it to move in and out as the door goes in and out, then we leave it in the on position. The Wi-Fi is our Wi-Fi router. It has to be powered up to be on. Otherwise, we're not going to get our Wi-Fi signal here in the coach that connects to the Wi-Fi Ranger. And there's a blank switch here. The adjustment for the amperage, if you're plugged into a cheater cord, can also be made here at the 10-inch panel. You would select the power, and then you would go into inverter here, inverter systems, and then over on the right, you would select 15, 20, or 25 amps. So you can select, if you're using a cheater cord, you can come to this panel and make the selection to a lower amperage, and you can do it on the inverter control. So as you enter your coach on the left-hand side, you'll see a 10-inch monitor panel. The monitor panel controls the functions that are listed here on the home screen. As a type of shortcut, you'll see here the house batteries and the tanks. So you can just be at the home screen here to see those. And then over on the right here are your lights and your bed lift. In the center is your climate control screen. So from the home screen, I can view what my batteries are doing. I can see how full my tanks are. I can turn my water pump on or my autofill and top off the freshwater tank. Each time that you press a function, there's a blue light strip that will come on underneath, and that tells you that it's actually turned on. So as I turn on more of the functions, those blue lights will stay on. To turn them off, I just press again and the blue line disappears. It just goes back to white. So that's how you control or move to different functions. So for instance, if I wanted to put my bed lift up or down, I could do that. But before I do, I'd want to look over at the bed and make sure the cushions were off the seats, that my kitchen area was clear, and that the cutting board and drawers were all closed, and that the slide out was completely extended before I would press the down button. If I press the up button and it's already up, you'll notice the line doesn't come on, but if I press the down button, you'll see that it does briefly come on. Right now the slide's closed, so it won't actually move. If I turn the lights on or off, you can see them coming on and off here. Low fan, high fan for the air conditioner, cooling mode, heat pump, fan, and off. If I want to go to the climate screen, I can press and I can see everything that I can control with that climate. I can start here with the hydronic burner, which is your hydronic heating and hot water. The burner would be on if you're going to take a long hot shower, but if you just wanted the heating elements on, you can turn those on here. In your climate screen, just press climate to switch over to turn either your hydronic burner on or your heating elements. Heating elements would be for the hot water. You'll need to have the hydronic burner on for heat inside the coach. And if you're taking a long hot shower, you'll want that hydronic burner to be on. If it's just a short couple minute shower, you can just have the element on, 1 or 2, and then it will also heat up the water that way. For the climate, we can adjust our temperature settings here with the up and down arrows, and then we can select either mode cool, auto, mode heat pump, or just fan, or off. If I turn it off, then the air conditioner will go off if I turn off the fan here as well. If I have the fan left on low or high, then the rooftop air conditioner fan will continue to run. Over on the right, it just shows status. When I would turn on a burner here, it would show active, which elements are on. If I turn on the heating hydronic burner, that will show that my heat mode is on. If I start that and it fails, it will show a fault. The AC comp shed and AC fan shed, in case I didn't have enough electricity coming in the coach with the shore, then it would show a line under those as being shed, because your coach automatically will shed loads that it doesn't have enough power to supply. Moving over to the fan screen, these are the roof mount fans. They're called Fantastic Vents. And I have one in the kitchen and one in the bathroom. And of course, you can turn those on high, medium, or low. My power screen is for the coach plug. When I'm plugged into 120 volts, it shows that I can see my leg here and my inverters on and off here. It also shows my solar charger, whether what my charge rate is. And over on the right here, it shows the voltage and the amperage that I'm currently plugged into and using. The next one over is the exterior. I can control and open and close my awnings and turn off my exterior lights. And the next one is all the lights, living room, bathroom, and bedroom, all on, all off here, or I can adjust the intensity here. All off at the bottom is all the lights off here in the living room area. Back to the home screen where we started. That's the main screen that you'll have on most of the time to show what's going on in the coach. But then as you scroll to each one individually, you'll be able to control those functions. Over on the top right corner, there's a dimmer switch here. And just beside that, there's a Bluetooth so that you could pair either your iPad or your phone to this same screen just by going through these 7 steps. And then once you've done the 7 steps, you would press here and it would pair with the phone or whatever device was that you followed the procedure to pair. You press and hold for 10 seconds to clear the stored user information if you wanted to clear that information out and start all over. So back to the home screen, that's where we started. So as we move over into the kitchen, we have our cabinets above the sink. The sink has a telescoping wand, hot and cold adjustment on and off. It has covers for the sink. With the storage area below. This is the television, but it folds out, and behind it we have our breaker box panels. There is a cover that's velcroed in here. If you remove that, you'll be able to see all of your fuses for your appliances here, and they're labeled on the back of the panel. So each fuse has a number, so the number of the fuse controls that. If your appliance for that fuse needs to be checked, just grab a hold of the fuse, pull it. If the fuse needs to be replaced, replace it. If it's the fuses F18 or F17, they're just resettable. Just press the center to reset if the center pops out. The panels up here are your lighting control panels, and the other ones are labeled here of what they control. Typically, when a light is turned on, the associated LED, green LED, will come on when that light comes on. This is your Wi-Fi router. When it's turned on, you'll see there is an LED that comes on the front here, and that tells you that it's on. You have to push this to unlock it. This is your breaker box for your 120 volt appliances, and they're all labeled: inverter, on and off, water heater, cooktop, and on down to the air conditioner. If any one of these is over to the left, like say your microwave, that would be off. So if you want the microwave not to operate, it would be to the left. If you open this and you see it's tripped, it's usually tripped about halfway. It doesn't actually trip and go all the way over. If you see any of them that are just about halfway, that means they tripped and need to be reset. The way you reset them is go all the way off and then back on. Now you can hear the microwave is back on. Any GFCI outlet has a green light when there's power to it. If you want to test it, you can press where it says test and then press it again. It should come back on. If it shows red, that means that plug is not getting power, so it won't work. So if you see a red LED, do a reset. If you reset it, it's still red, you'll need to have that circuit checked. And when you're done with this area, this Velcro piece goes back here, and then this one goes there. And just swing your TV back. So with our television turned on, we'll use our remote control to go to the home screen, press the home button in the center. That gets to this screen. And then this icon here is our selection for menu. So just toggle over to the left here and go to settings. So you'd have to scroll down to settings, then press the center button here, and now scroll over to all settings. And what we're going to do is we're going to scan for channels. If we scroll down here to broadcasting, then we select that. Press the center button again, and we go through auto program to find the channels. So press auto program, and we want to press the start to auto program. We have to have our over-the-air wind guard turned on, and once that's on, then we're going to scan for air channels. Yes, and it'll go through the scan and it'll show us how many channels it found. "39 channels." So we can either scan again, or we can go to our different settings or just close. You'll have to scan the same way with the wind guard antenna off if you want to watch the cable channels. So if you want to scan for cable, turn the over-the-air antenna off and then scan again for your cable channels if you have part cable available and want to watch cable. Now we should be able to connect with a channel here. Yes. To go back to the home screen and scan for cable, scroll left, back to settings, to the right, all settings, broadcasting, auto program, and this time we're plugged into cable, we've turned our over-the-air wind guard off, and now we can scan for the cable channels. Obviously, since we are not plugged into cable, we won't pick up any, but that's how you would scan for the cable. And you'll have to scan for channels for each TV location, whether it's out here or in the bedroom. This is our microwave. Our cooktop is an induction cooktop. You have to have a metal pan for this to operate. If you turn it on and you don't have a pan here, it will automatically go off in about 30 seconds. And it never actually heats unless there is a pan there. Even though you set the temperature up, it won't actually create any heat unless there's a pan there. If you lift it up, you can unplug it and take it outside. So it's mobile. So you can do cooking in any area of the coach or outside. Just below that, you've got your drawers for your keys and remotes that come with your coach. And and more storage at the bottom. The cutting board here on the top shelf, once it's open, it's locked. So when you're using it, it's locked in place. When you're ready to close it, you'll have to press down at the bottom these two little release levers, and then it will go in and close. Additional remotes and touch-up paint are in that second drawer, and more storage below. There is a overhead light here above the range. The refrigerator is an electric refrigerator. Above that is more storage. To open the refrigerator, there's just press the handle here, and that latch will release. You can open freezer. Same here, when you press it, it releases here. You can open the door for the refrigerator. Your temperature settings are right here for warmer and cooler. And more storage below the refrigerator. Your pantry is just beside the refrigerator. To open the drawers, just press to open. The pocket door to close for privacy in the bathroom is locked in the travel position, so that when you're traveling down the road, you don't want that locked. So you have to push this all the way over until it locks. But then to close it for privacy, you have to push down to unlock it. And as you move over all the way to the end, you'll hear it, it'll lock again. So now it's locked in place. So before you travel, you will definitely want to have this unlocked and put back over all the way to the wall. And now this is locked back in place for travel. Moving into the bathroom, there's a storage area here with an access panel here. And more drawers here. Under the sink. Lighting touch panel control. Medicine cabinet with mirror. The Dometic toilet is a foot pedal to flush. Just press down to flush and release. The shower has push to close door, hold and press in, and then just press to release, and it automatically pulls itself to the left. So I'm in the shower, and you'll notice just below the controls for the upper part of your shower is a recirculating knob. When you turn this over to the right, that means the water recirculates from the fresh tank, and it goes back until it warms up, and then this will turn on, the light behind it will turn on red. That tells you your water's hot. Then you'll turn it from recirculate over here to shower, and that's when the water will come out. It's a way to save water. It's called your aquamizer. Then once you start your shower, then you come up here and you turn this to the left or right for hot or cold, and then this one here to the left or right for the handle or above shower. And when you're finished, just put the handle back here. So we're moving into the dining room. The dining room has a fold-up table. The table's stored right now. Right here to my left, we have the room temperature sensor. Below that is a 120 volt outlet with USB and USB-C for charging. Both of the seats will fold up, so you have access to the water and electric for the slide. For service, they also have a Velcro here. To bring the table down, we just release here and it folds down. And then to lock it, you push this up. This seat is the same way. Storage below with another 120 volt outlet here. So this wall actually folds down into a bed. So to fold it down into a bed, we want to remove these cushions first. And then go over to our touch panel control and have this lowered in place. So let's go over to the control. Touch it to wake it up. And over on the right in the upper side, you have bed up and down. So it's up now. So if we have to press it to go down. And then it will automatically stop when it's in the down position. Now, you want to be sure and be out of the way when that comes down. To go back up, it's just the reverse. We press bed up. Once the bed goes up, the legs are locked, so you have to unlock them and store them manually. We'll show you that in a second. So the bed goes all the way up, stops by itself, release. And at the bottom of the leg, here's a little lever. Press that to unlock, to store them down. Same over here, just press up here and store the leg. And then moving over here into the entertainment area, we have the theater type seating, touch panel control. We have overhead space here. And the seats have extend and retract controls for the footrest here. And then the one in the back here is for the back tilt. And then footrest down. Same on the other side. So you probably hear the air conditioner running now. We have the air conditioner on. And weekly, you should check your filters. Just pull the intake filter out and clean that filter. You can see it's a little dusty because it's been running a little bit. Take these and clean them with warm soapy water. Rinse with warm water. Let them air dry. Then put them back in place, just like that. And they go all the way to the back of the coach. So keep these filters clean. Make sure you put them back on the passenger side. That's the intake. The cool air is coming out of the opposite side. So there's a filter in each one of these on this side, which is the passenger side.